In this video we look at the React router, single page apps and all that great cool stuff. This is where it really helps to have a working example to study and to see how all the code works.
So this is part one of React Router and single page apps. That's why I've titled this opening slide Coffee and Cream. They really go together. So what is a single page app? And to get a good definition, I went to this website, Kerupa. It's a very nice, informative website. And here's what it says. Single page apps are different from your traditional web multi-page apps, where a single page app does not involve going off to completely different HTML pages. You simply navigate around the same page, making parts of the page appear, disappear, depending on your URL or your path in your address bar. Yeah, show me. Let me show you the app that we're going to be working with, the single page app, and it will become a lot clearer. This is my 60s music single page application built with React Router. What you're seeing here is the starter page, the home page. I've got a nav bar across the top, a nice banner, and then a list of bands. As we go through, try and pay attention, or if you can see, look at the address bar, because the address bar, at least the far right end of the address bar, just to the right of the hash sign, corresponds to the nav bar and also will indicate what React component should be rendered whenever the address changes, and the address can change by me clicking on a navbar tab. Let me show you that. I hit on Hit 60s Decade. The banner's still there, but you'll notice I've got some new content down here. That is coming from a different React component. And up on the address bar, I've got /hits. Let's go to Hits 64 August. The nav bar is behaving beautifully. It's turning red. The tab is turning red whenever I select the tab. Now I've got Hits 64/8 because the default is August. But up in the address bar, if I type 8 and do, say, 12, it will correctly update this part of the screen for month 12, which is December, and it will tell me what the number one hit was in December 1964. You'll notice because I hand-typed the address bar, none of the navigation tabs have lit up because there's no corresponding entry for 1964/12 or December. So let me now try Hits 1964. I've clicked on the Hits 1964 tab. I've still got my big banner. I've got some information about 1964, but I've also got this information down the bottom, these factoids for 1964, which is rendered from yet another React component. Similar if I go to Hits 1965, almost the same, the number one hit for 1965 and factoid information for 1965. This is one single HTML file. I'm not jumping to different HTML files. Just by using the navigation bar to change the address bar, different components are being rendered thanks to the React Router technology. And the final thing I just want to show you is the history. Back, forward. The history gets, remember, courtesy of React Router. Okay, so that's the app. Let's break that down to the React components that are being displayed on different parts of the page. Is that the right way to say it? Which React component is responsible for delivering the HTML for different parts of the page? Here they are. 𝐶𝐿_main displays the navigation bar across the top, and then that nice big blue banner 1960s music. 𝐶𝐿_HOME is responsible for delivering the HTML for a list of great bands from the 1960s. And that will get rendered when your URL path is just / the root location, as it were. Now at the bottom of the screen you'll see the HTML file that if you just click it, up will come the wonderful single page app that you saw me navigating around. And the default location, if you click the home element on the nav bar, this is what the screen will look like. We saw that if you click the next location, you'll get the /hits in the URL path, and 𝐶𝐿_main and 𝐶𝐿_hits. Whatever HTML comes out of those will both get rendered. Moving on, if you go a little deeper into the path, /hits/ and then give it a year, say 1964, and you will get that by clicking the navigation tab highlighted there, hits 1964, well, you're going to get an accumulation of 𝐶𝐿_main will get displayed. That's my shorthand for saying the HTML will be returned from the 𝐶𝐿_main render method and will get painted onto the screen. 𝐶𝐿_hits will get rendered, and 𝐶𝐿_𝐍𝐎_factoid will get rendered. So let's think about the single page app. What are the essential requirements? Just 3, I think, at least we can deal with now. That the URL displayed in the address bar reflects the components that are being viewed. Or another way of putting that is, depending on what you put in the URL address bar, particular components will get rendered, and we'll learn how to couple those together. Browser history, this is important. I want the browser history to work just as it would if I was jumping from HTML page to HTML page, so I can go backwards and forwards. I want those to operate correctly. And essential requirement number 3, navigate to a particular view using the appropriate URL. For example, /hits causes a number of components to be rendered, /hits/ so that's another level down. And then the next level down, hits /1964/8, that's 3 levels of URL depth. I want to make sure they're all handled and display correctly. Well, to meet those requirements, here's a lovely quote from that 𝐍𝐎𝐓𝐇𝐈𝐍𝐆 site. Building a single page app to handle these essential requirements, you have a bucket full of techniques, commonly known as the React router. So the old world, the old way of doing it, usually you mapped URLs to actual real HTML pages and you would jump around and navigate around. Whereas with a single page app using React Router, the URLs simply map a collection of rendered components, all contained in the same page. So let's start talking some detail. When you start writing code, the React Router has a number of router, and I've called them managers. That's not a term they use, but I'm going to call it that. And it's essentially for handling history in different environments. And there's 2 that are of interest here, the hash router and the browser router. In the HTML style that we're using when you're building your React applications just in standalone HTML files, we're going to be using, and I'm going to use, the hash router manager. If I deployed my HTML up to a regular web server, then I could switch out hash router and switch in browser router, and everything should work exactly the same. So that's your first decision, and we're going to be using hash router in the HTML applications. And the second bullet item there, map URL paths to components. Yeah, these are the main router tags you're going to be using: route, switch, and the keyword exact. But first, folks, there's something very important. You've got to get the React Router JavaScript file. Here's the scenario. Remember early on we got those 3 JavaScript files, the top 2 for the React infrastructure, and the Babel, the one at the bottom, babelmin.js, for doing the JavaScript translation. But now we, in addition, need the React Router JavaScript. You can actually name the file whatever you darn well like. I actually inserted v4 into my name of my file because I was previously working with version 3 and I wanted to be absolutely clear in my mind when I was looking at an HTML file whether I was using v4 or v3. So the important question, where did I and where can you get hold of this React Router JS file? Well, here's where you start. Libraries React Router, here's what the screen would look like. And here's what I did, and to get a local copy onto my machine, because I like to have it on my machine, because then I've got a fixed environment and I know what I'm playing with. Select the URL from the screen, right click, then go to the location, and then just right click Save As, so to save a copy of the React Router JavaScript file on your local box. So we've got the files, good start. In the next episodes, we'll look deeper into the single page app and how to use React Router.